From the first games, it's clear that Barca are playing in a different way. The fans recognise it as such, and they're proud of it. Yes, well, they're shitting themselves too. If anything sums up Johan, I think it's in two things. First, there's his personality. And there it seems as if he's on top of everything. He's in control in every area. And you see that straight off. And the second thing is the way of playing that he brings to us. When you come here, you see it's very tactical, and so it has its element of risk. We'll put him here because we're always on the attack, so we're less interested in this part. Okay, so we more or less play like this. And this player's job was never to leave the centre circle, because the moment he moves outside this ball is impossible. So he's always here, and from here you can pass where you like, long balls, whatever. Yes, the job of the number 4 was quite hard because he was the pivot of the team in a way. He was the one who started the play, especially in attack, not so much defensively. So he's a player who had to have vision. He had to be able to move the ball around. He had to be able to keep the ball moving quickly. He had to be able to start moves, and he really needed to be a bit of a leader too. Then there was the player, Guardiola, Milla, Xavi nowadays, the player who'd take the ball from the keeper or the defence to start playing football 25 or 30 metres further up the pitch. And this means Barca play attractive football. They have more control and they get forward better. I think the surprise was that these players were guys like Milla and Guardiola. They weren't well built. The idea was that you'd get someone out from the back and put him here. That's suicide. But while you have the ball, the other team can't score. So it's a question of organisation and, more than anything, of possession. And in this area, a lot of people make mistakes in the small things. For example, playing as a defender. You can change this in all kinds of ways. For example, I've never known how to defend, and if I have to defend all of this room and someone comes along, I won't be able to. But if I only have to defend this part, and the best player in the world comes along, he won't get past me. What I mean is that it's all relative. So what we always said to Guardiola was that he'd always operate in compact areas. He'd never have to defend too much space. And this is just a question of looking, that's all. And when the team plays close together, this means that when the other team get the ball, they have to control it perfectly, because if they let it get away, half a metre, we're onto it. And winning the ball doesn't need you to put the foot in, just a toe, and you can win it. And they weren't used to these things, but as soon as you get the ball and you're in control of it, then you're in charge. And my football is to be in charge and to do what you want to do out on the pitch. Beckenbauer, who always had a free role, was the typical player who'd be in midfield and it'd be bang, 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 ball forward, goal. And often, Beckenbauer would have a free role in front of the defence. And that was the famous number 4, as they'd say here. And back in that era, all the teams, all of them, they played 4-4-2. 4-4-2, 4-4-2. And we realised that playing 4-4-2, we were wasting a player at the back. And so sometimes we'd play man-to-man at the back, and then 3 men against 2 at the back was enough, and we'd have an extra in midfield. The number 4 wasn't really the surprise. Rather, it was the midfielder further forward. And in this case, it was Vaquero. So he'd always play facing the ball, and when the ball came through, it'd reach him. You were a kind of a pivot, like in basketball, where they play with their backs to the basket. That's it. The advantage I had, and the team too, is that we played one-touch football, and usually that's hard. They'd look to win the ball because I rarely had to dribble, which was good for me. And secondly, with the pace the ball came through from the back, started by Koeman or Guardiola or Mila, in the first season that would be, the ball would usually come through very sharply, and my job, to be honest, well, it was fairly comfortable for me. It was important the way we bring the ball out. When Jose Mari would get the ball, that would come out of defence from Ronald or one of the full-backs, and he'd touch it for the players coming up, the inside forwards or the holding player. Well, we knew what we were doing, and sometimes it was automatic. Sometimes you'd know where your teammate was without having seen him. We knew that Jose Mari would show for the ball, and we'd have one here, another here, and it would be bang, bang, bang. One touch. This is attractive football. What happened with me sometimes is that I'd get a pass from Guardiola or Koeman, and with the first touch we'd open up the flank, bring the ball back a little with Boycochea or Biggerstein on the left. The fans then would be whistling me, and I get forward, he'd cross, I get on the end of it, so in 3 seconds we'd have scored. And these situations were rather paradoxical for me because there weren't any real repercussions, because I felt I was valued by Johan and by the team too. Yes, because he was the kind of player who didn't look to do it on his own. He always worked for the team. What he did very well was play the ball first touch, and first touch football means rhythm. And he always played the ball to players who were coming onto the play, and when you do that, you increase the rhythm. It's not you get hold of the ball, have a look, will you lose it? No. He hardly ever lost the ball, and so he was aware in this sense that when we lost the ball, he was there to press for it. And he had real talent. He got on the end of crosses with his head very well. But he wasn't the kind of player who'd get the ball and try to go on his own or anything like that. No, this team didn't want a player like that in this position. So you had two. You had Guardiola or Mila, whose game was based on technique, on passing. So there'd be the so-called number 4 here and another player here. And this pivot, along with the other midfielders and the forwards, were able to really move the ball around. And they hardly ever lost the ball. And if you don't lose the ball in the build-up, as I've said 1,000 times, then it's hard to be counter-attacked. Often, in searching for this superiority in midfield, we'd have the man playing in the Cruyff role or the Laudrup role, who'd come back to the middle of the pitch looking for the ball. And that would sometimes mean we had 5 against 4, because the 2 opposition central defenders didn't want to go into midfield and so leave their defence vulnerable with only 3 at the back. If he comes back, here there's a marker, here a marker, and this is open. Then there's quite a lot of space, so you can make a pass from here to there in one. Here to there, one pass, and if it doesn't reach there, then there's the short pass to Laudrup, who can do his stuff. Everyone remembers that he'd pick the ball up, come inside, and I don't know how many passes he made from there. Well, we started playing like this, and by the time that they caught on to it, well, 2 years had passed.